Boker Tov. So today's daf yomi is the daf in Shas that talks about medicines and healing powers, and of course, it's very, very challenging to understand. And already we were told by many authorities that we should not apply this. First of all, we don't even know what the words mean. Even if we know what the words mean, we don't know the exact ratios and the exact amount to put in, which we know is completely relevant to medicine. So we study it to gain insight to the best of our abilities. We know that all the why does the Gemara include it? The Maharsha says because the healing powers, to teach us this lesson, that everything is found in Torah, even healing powers. So we're going to start on the bottom of 68b, 5 lines from the bottom. With Dama Deresha, if you have blood of the head, Lacey Shurbina Uvina Va'asa. If you have blood of the head, take a type of cedar wood and take some willows, take some fresh myrtle, Vizeta, and take an olive, Vichelfa, and a tree, a type of tree. And then take this chilfe de yama, take this type of spices, and then v'yivwa, take this other type of spice. V'shlokinu b'hadei adadi, boil them together. Until tlas mea kase ahai gisa dereisha, tlas mea kase ahai gisa dereisha. Pour 300 cups on one side of the head and another 300 cups on the other side of the head. V'lo, and if you don't have the ability to do that, I see varda chivra. Bring white rose, which has all of its leaves on one side, it's all of its petals on one side. Gittin, kase ahai gisa dereisha, v'shitin kase ahai gisa dereisha. So you cook it, you make some rose water, and you take and pour 60 cups on one side of the head, and another 60 cups on the other side of the head. With slichta, so this is a migraine. Rashi says a half a headache. So the word migraine comes from the Latin hemicranum, meaning half of the head. So that's why we get the word migraine from Rashi, half of the head. Lazy tarnagoa bara. You bring a wild bird. We learned from the Daf Samachas that this is the duchifa bird, which is a national bird of Israel, the hoopoe. And I slaughter this bird with a white coin. You slaughter with a white coin. And then the way you do it is ahu gisa de kayavle, on the side of the head where it hurts. And it's dar midame de lola saminu le'ine. And then you have to be very careful that while the blood runs down his head, it doesn't blind his eyes. And then you hang this hoopoe bird from the by the entrance to your house, on the entrance to the door. So that when you go in and out of your house, you're going to be rubbing against it. The vukate for Rashi says illness of the eye. It's called tila. The article translates it as a cataract. Lacy akrava deshef kumra. You bring a scorpion that has 7 different colors on it. Because it gets older, it gets more colors. Uniyabshe petula, and you dry it out in the shade and not in the sun. You take 2/3 from eyeliner and 1/3 from the scorpion, and you mix them together. And then from this mixture, you take 3 small portions from this application into one eye, and then 3 small portions from this application into the other eye. Don't do more than that. The low. Because if you're not careful, his eye will pop out. For night blindness, Naisi Shudra Barka, bring a rope that's made from the hair of animals. You tie one end of the rope to your foot and one end of the rope to the dog. And then a child should bang after you with the parts of a pottery part. And you say this chant, this mantra: an old dog, a foolish hen, a foolish rooster. And afterwards, and then afterwards, take 7 pieces of meat from 7 different houses. And the people should put this piece of meat on the hinge of the threshold. And they should eat these pieces of meat by the garbage dump of the city. And afterwards they should remove the string that's tied to it. And they should say this: and go to the dog, and then you should go and basically after you do this, you basically blow into the eye of the dog. There's probably a lot of fear of the eye of the dog because the dog's the only animal that makes direct eye contact. With Shavuri Diamama, for the blindness that comes during the day, Laisi Shiva Sumke Megava de Chaivasai. Bring 7 spleens from animals that were just slaughtered. And you should roast them on a pottery shard that comes from a person who is letting the blood. And the sick person should sit outside. Should sit inside. Another person should sit outside. The name of Avira, and the blind man should say, bring me from the spleen so I could eat. The name of Hayach, and one who could see should say, Sav v'achol. He should say, take it and eat. And after eats, he should break the pottery shard, because otherwise this illness of the blindness of the day will come back. For a nosebleed, moving down from the top, from the headache to the moving down from the head to the nose. You have to bring a Kohen whose name is actually Levi. And you should write Levi backwards. And if you don't do this, just bring any man and write his name, write this backwards. Ana Papi Shila Bar Sumki. And do it with Mafreya backwards. If you can't find the person from the market, Tam Dui B'mei Kasef, the taste of the bucket water is in, the taste of the bucket is like the silver water, but Tam Dui B'mei Pagam, and taste of the bucket is in defective water. And if you can't do that, Ikra de Espasta. Bring a root of an aspasta, the ashla de poriatikta, and a rope from an old bed, the kurtasa umarika, and bring soft paper and saffron, the sumka de oliva, and the red part of the palm branch, burn them together. Bring a ball full, and weave together 2 threads. And soak them in vinegar. And you should wind the strands together in earth and in the ashes that you burnt the previous thing until it sticks to the strands, and then stick them up his nose. And if that doesn't do anything, or if you can't find it, find a stream of water that goes from east to west. And put one leg on either side of it. And take some mud in your right hand from underneath your left foot. From your left hand from underneath your right foot. Then you weave together 2 strands of wool. And you soak them in the mud. and then you put them up as nostrils. Ve'ilo, and if that doesn't work, you should go and you take the Mars from over there, Harold. If that doesn't work, right there. It maybe bring a few. Thanks. And if that doesn't work, bring you should sit under a spout of water. The nice umaya velishto, and you bring the water through the spout. The limruki echli de paski animaya lifsok the may the palanya bar palmisa. I say, and you should say just like this water stopped, let the blood basically that's coming out of my nose stop. We're on 69A. And if you're following the art scroll, we're on the bottom of A1. So ledama dasmi puma, for blood that comes out of your mouth, you have an oral wound, you have a problem with your teeth, but you check the blood with a straw of wheat. If it sticks to the wheat, mereya kaasi, it's like the kan that comes from the lungs, and you can fix it. Ve'ilo, but if it doesn't stick, it means it comes from the kavda kaasi, it comes from the liver, and you can't fix it. So but we learned the opposite. Nitel kaved. So didn't we say that if the liver is missing, or hareya shenikva, so there are 18 trephos of an animal. So there it says if the liver is missing or if the lung is pierced. So we see from here that the lung is more severe, because even if it's just pierced, it makes it the animal not kosher, whereas the liver has to be missing. So we see from here that the lung is stricter than the liver. So no, we say since the blood is coming from the mouth, we're going to say that it's very clear under those circumstances that the liver has disintegrated, because that's typically speaking where it comes from. So the Gemara says, Amar Mar ime reakasi is like takanta. He says, if it comes from the lung, there's a way to fix it. What's the takanta? Leisi sheva kune mi pirma de silka. Bring 7 fistfuls of beets. Vishiva kune mi pirma de karti, and 7 fistfuls of leeks. Chamishe kune preda, and 5 fistfuls of this herb called the preda herb. Maybe it's like a wild cherry, she seems to say. And then Lutlasa kune de talchi, and 3 fistfuls of lentils, the kuna de kamuna, and a fistful of cumin, ukuna de chavle, a fistful of vegetables, ukinegdan kanta patirta, and also in equal proportion, the fat from the innards of a firstborn animal, the live shell v'lecho, and you cook it and you eat it, everything together. And afterwards drink a sharp wine, winter alcohol. But kacha, let's say you have your molars are hurting. Amar Rab Barfuna lesi tume yichida, bring a single clove of garlic, and nimmer save a mishchol melcha, and grind it up with salt and oil. Benasve atufra da iona da ugisa de kaivwe, and put it on the fingernail on that side of the body where the molars are hurting. And you make around it a ring of dough, so that it doesn't touch your flesh, because the garlic would be bad for it. It would cause saras. For your tonsils, you take this type of leaf, the chumasi leaf, and kim mamru, and also take, and this is like the mamru, v'ikar de chumsi, or the root of this plant, adifni mamru is better than maru. V'ninko bepume hani lukume, and you take these branches into his mouth, so he doesn't get too many boils there. Ubashule, let's say you want to make it abscessed, You wanna make it so you can drain it. Lysi pari deresh knife. You bring the bran that grows around a sieve when you're filtering out the flour. V'talfe ba'afrayu, and lentils with their earth where they were growing. V'shuvlita, and the fenugreek, the chumuta dikshuta, and the flour that comes from hops. V'ninkot kamguza bepume, and you should put them in your mouth, the amount of a nut. And we patuche, how do you open the abscess? You should, how do you open up the abscess? What should you do? A person should blow these white seeds into his throat using this wheat straw. And how do you grow skin afterwards? I say, after mitul the basaki, say bring the earth from the shade next to a toilet, and mix it up with honey and eat it. Mix this earth up with honey and eat it. That will heal your meat. So what do you do for this? Is a type of illness that comes from the swelling of the head, and it comes out of the nostrils. I guess you have like maybe sinusitis. But I say kipiskta, you should bring like the size of a nut that grows on an oak tree. It's called a piskta. The nishtor that comes from the spice that's called the nishtor. V'chiyam guza, the chabina du shinita, and you bring the size of the fat chalbana, which is the galbanum, which is part of the ketores, and a full spoon of white honey, and a utensil from the city of Mechoza of clear wine that holds the size of this, that's white. You cook them together. And when the nishtor is cooked, that's a sign that everything is cooked. So that's from the spice that's called nishtor. They translate here as ammoniac. I have no idea what that is. Vilo, and if you don't do this, let's see, revia the chalva the izachavir. So bring a revius of from the milk of a white goat, and let it drip. Let the fat drip onto 3 cabbage stalks. And you should cook them in a pot with a branch of a tree that's called marhamen. And when you see that this twig is cooked, that's a sign it's all cooked. And if you don't do that, bring the feces, the excrement of a white dog, the nigbol benatfa, and you mix it up together with balsamic spices. And however, if you're able to do to not need it, don't eat the dog's feces, because the mafrik, it causes your bones to split apart. Well, gira, so this is what they say is pericarditis. I see gira delilasa. Bring a arrow from Lilith. It's a type of stone. It looks like an arrow, and it falls down with hail. That's what Rashi says. V'nifche, and you turn over the stone so that the sharp point is pointing down, and hold it from above. V'nishtei maya ilavi v'nishtei, pour water on it and drink. V'ilo, and if that doesn't work, I see mi maya de ishtei minayo kalba b'leila. Bring from the water that a dog drank at night, and it's dar mikuliye, but be very careful not to leave it uncovered, because that's dangerous. The galuye, let's say you drink water that was left uncovered, and we're concerned that a snake bit it. Am pekasa de chamrachaya, drink a quarter lug of undiluted wine. Lamorsa, let's say you have an abscess, and paka de chamra, drink a quarter lug of wine that's mixed together with ala talana, the type of red flour which is called aloe. But pircha de libo, if you have, let's say, you're fainting, bring 3 chalos that are made from barley, And you should soak them in a type of porridge that was not 40 days old yet. And you eat it and drink after it wine that was diluted. And for sure, if you do this, you're going to faint. So Amrei Ano Yukra Deliba Amrei said, no, I meant it if you have pains in the heart, maybe like heart pains. But Pircha for somebody who is fainting, bring 3 loaves of wheat, and soak them in honey and eat them. And drink afterwards undiluted wine. Let's say you have pain in the heart. Bring 3 eggs from the flour that's called ninya. Ninya is mint, Rashi says. Ubiasa de kamona, and bring an egg of and you bring 1 egg of cumin, an egg's worth of cumin, ubiasa de shumshmi, and 1 egg's volume of sesame, and eat it. Let's say you have stomach pain. Bring 300 long peppers. You drink 100 of these peppers in wine, and your stomach will be cured. Ravin de min Narash, Avad Lebarte de Rav Ashi. Ravin from the place called Narash prepared for the daughter of Rav Ashi, Mea v'chamishin mehani didan v'tzaya. He prepared him 150 peppers from those that were growing with him, and they weren't specifically long, and they were healed. Let's say you have worms in the stomach. Ampik the chamra, bring a quarter load of wine and mix it together by trafa the ara with the leaves of a laurel. For worms white worms that grow in the stomach. Lacy bizra galgila, bring a type of seed that's called the galgila. I'm not sure what that is. Hold on, let me look that up. Rocket plant. Okay, so I don't know what that is in English either. Nitzare b'shistag, and tie it to the garment that's made from cotton. Then this yare b'maya v'nishta, and soak it in water and drink it. And this darme binte, and be very careful that you don't swallow together the seed. Hilo minakva, because if you're not going to be careful, you can pierce your innards. Let's say you want to stop the diarrhea. Siman, sisin retiva b'maya. Then you should eat a type of herb that's called sisin while it's fresh, and drink it with water. Mishrei. And however, if you want to stop constipation, you take a dry sisin and soak it in water. And the simanech, and the way you remember this is itza retiva de sakar nahara. The type of acid that's called itza stops up the rivers from flowing, and so therefore the fresh one stops up the diarrhea, not the dry one. With tacha, let's say you have a swollen spleen. Shev bine demaya, bring 7 leeches that are found in the water. Nisyab shinu uniyab shinu betula, dry them out in the shade. The kol yoma nishte tarte utata b'chamra. And every day drink 2 or 3 of them when they're soaked in wine. You have to drink the leeches, even though leeches are not kosher, but it's for medicine, so you could do it. If you can't do this, bring a spleen of a goat that never gave birth, and press it in the oven, fry it in the oven, and then stand opposite the oven. Just say, just like this spleen dried up, so should my spleen dry it up. And if he has no oven, he should take the spleen and place it between the rows of a new house, I'm going to try there. B'nei Mahacha, and say that incantation. Below, and if he can't do that, he should continue to search where a person died that week. Take the dead man's hand, stick it on his spleen. Just like this hand dried up, so too should my spleen dry up. So a little bit of a question is, how can you just use a dead man for your benefit? But he seems to do that there. So the commentaries do discuss that question. I didn't derive benefit from a dead man. It states in an Avodah Zarah. So how can they do this here? So the Be'er Moshe explains that you're not actually getting benefit. This is not the typical way of benefit, and so therefore he says it's permitted. The Eshel Avram says we're talking about an idolater, and so therefore you could do it. But others disagree and say there's no distinction here between an idolater and a Jew. You can't benefit. Okay, it's a different, longer discussion, obviously. So ve'ilo, and if that doesn't work, naisei binasei, should bring a fish, v'nitvaya beinafcha, and he should roast the fish in the house of a blacksmith, v'nichlei b'maya beinafcha, and he should soak the fish in this water. Hold on. Yeah, he should soak the fish in this water, and then and drink from there. There was a certain goat that used to drink a blacksmith water. When they slaughtered this goat, they didn't find a spleen in there because blacksmith water dried out the spleen. Below, that doesn't work. He should open up a barrel of wine for his use. So if he's drinking a barrel of fine wine every day, he's not going to come before us because he's never going to have a sick spleen. Eat bread every morning, it's good for the whole body. If you eat your toasted bagels every day, you'll be good. So what do you do for hemorrhoids? Bring acacia and aloe. These are different things, including the excrement of a dove. Wrap them in rags of flax during the summer. And cotton during the winter. Which day Shachar Marka, drink watered down beer. Shigrona, what's Shigrona? This is maybe gout. Bring a pot of fish juice, of small fish juice, and roll it 60 times on his hip, meaning rub it on your hip, and 60 times on the other hip. With smirta for a kidney stone, bring 3 drops of tar oil, 3 drops of leek extract, 3 drops of wine. The man should put it on his parts, and the woman on her parts. If that doesn't work, bring the ear of a flask. And the man should hang it on his parts, and the woman on her breasts. And if that doesn't work, what should you do? Bring a red thread that was spun by a woman who was a duma bastuma. She was licentious, the daughter of a woman who was licentious. And hang it on the man's member. And the woman on her breast. And if that doesn't work, bring a louse from the body of a man and a woman. Hang it on the man's member. And on the woman's spot, and when the patient urinates, let him urinate on a dry thorn in a doorway, the ma'ayel kuat simra, and let him find this stone that comes out of the body. He'll pass the stone this way, and then he should take it and ground it up because it's good for all fevers. All right, obviously, like we were saying, we're not supposed to apply these medicines today, but the basic fundamental message is that if you really understand everything in its full depth, the Torah has everything in it, even medicine. And we'll stop here.